Yeah, so what David and I were thinking about doing is just we'll each sing something that Frank, as you said, is meaningful to us, that kind of symbolizes or signifies the Seder. As a kid growing up, all of my Passover Seders were in my parents' house. Three of my four grandparents passed away before my parents even married. They were teenagers, and the one grandparent that was still alive lived in California, and so. When it comes to Hanukkah, and David Maimon, you'll appreciate this, I grew up singing Hanerot Halalu. And, as a kid, I'd go to synagogue and they didn't sing it at SBH the way I sang it. And I think, well, that's kind of strange. And I realized that the way we sang Hanerot Halalu in my parents' home was more akin to how they sing it at Ezra B'Sereth. And all of a sudden, one time, David Maimon wanted to learn the Rudder's Lee version. And I didn't even realize that I knew it, but that was just kind of what we did in our house. So Pesach is one of those things, most of us are with family, or I've always been blessed to be with family. So it's not like I've experienced a wide range of people's seders. And so I really only know how we do it in the Azose household and how my in-laws do it, which is more typical, Ashkenazi. So the first thing we wanted to start off with was just, what is your custom around reading the order of the Seder? So as a kid growing up in our house, we would read it in its entirety first, and then before each phase, we would, say the phase that we're on. And so here's how it was always done as a kid in my house. And it's similar to kind of what we learned at the Hebrew Academy, but it's a little bit different. Kadesh urachatz karpas yachatz Magid rochsa, motzi matza, marorech orech, shulchan orech, tzafun barech, halel nirtza. And then we would go Kadesh, Kadesh, and then you'd say Kiddush. And when you got to the Magid, Kadesh orchatz, Karpas Yachatz Magid Magid, and then we would all say Magid. So that's how we did it in the Azose household. We can open it up. David, did you do it different in your house or similar?
That was basically it. That was basically what we did, and just afterwards, after each one, we said the instructions in Ladino, which are always appreciated, especially when we can end with the word Arescovdados.
Yes, exactly. So
absolutely, we love our Escovdado sing. I can tell you, it doesn't matter what the tune is for the Seder, how you do those steps. We do the same thing. You always go to Magid.
Right.
Where we're up to.
So along those lines, my favorite piece is always Halach Ma'anya, which we did in Hebrew and Ladino. And David, that's a good, I'll start with the instructions to Magid. Hicieron los vasos de vino y dirán la Agaddah. Después de la Agaddah, se los beberán los vasos de vinos arescovdados. Okay, so the Agaddah we use pretty much, it's, I wouldn't call it a makam, Frank. It's more just like a chant, I suppose, of sorts that we use on Pesach. And we do it in synagogue when we do the Hallel on Arvit of Pesach. So here's Halach Ma'anya as I grew up doing it and as I do it today. Halach Ma'anya diachalu avatana be'ara demisraim kol dichvin yete ve'echol kol ditzrich yete ve'yifsach hashata hacha l'shana haba be'ara Yisrael hashata hacha avdei l'shana haba be'ara Yisrael be'nechorin. Este es el pan de la aflicción que comieron nuestros padres en tierra de Egipto. Todo el que tiene hambre venga y coma. Todo el que tiene de menester venga y Pascua. Este año aquí, el año el viñen en tierra de Israel. Este año aquí, siervos, el año el viñen en tierra de Israel y los foros. So as a kid, my mom would not be one who was too vocal when we were saying any of these things. But when it came to Pesach and it came to saying Halach Ma'anya and Ladino, she would sing practically at the top of her voice, still does. So that's the piece that I wanted to share. David, I'll turn it over to you.
So for me, I always appreciated the nishmat at the end of the Seder, and much like Mo, I've experienced my parents, my grandparents Haggadah Seder, and you know, I would say more recent years, but the past long time now, I've experienced my in-laws, and really that's it. And it took me a while to realize that the nishmat that I grew up with in my household, I don't even know if it's prevalent in our SBH community or if it's just a Maimon family tradition. So I'd be interested as you hear the nishmat, if this is how you grew up and this is how you knew it in your home. And I think what I'll do is I'll do kind of the first page and then maybe just skip ahead so it doesn't take a long time to go through it all. נשמע לכל חי תברך את שמך אדוני אלוהינו ורוח כל בשר תפאר ותרומם זכרך מלכנו תמיד מן העולם ועד העולם אתה אל ומבלעדיך אין לנו מלך אוהל ומושיע פודה ומציל ועונה ומרחם בכל צרה וסוכה אין לנו מלך עוזר וסומך אלא אתה, אלוהי הראשונים והאחרונים, אלוה כל בריות, אדון כל תולדות, המהולל בכל התשפחות, המנהג עולמו בחסד ובירותם, ברחמים, ואדוני לא ינום ולא יישן, המעורר ישנים, והמקיץ נרדמים, מחיה מתים ורופא חולים, פוקח עיוורים וזוקף כפופים, המסיח אילמים והמפנח נעלמים, ולך לבדך אנחנו מודים. And then skipping a page to Shabbat Anim on page 36. שבת ענים אתה תשמע, צעקת הדל תקשיב ותושיע, וכתוב רננו צדיקים באדוני, לישרים נאווה תהילה. בפי ישרים תתרומם, ושפתי צדיקים תתברך, ובלשון חסידים תתקדש, וקרב קדושים תתהלל. ומקדול רבב עמך בית ישראל, שכן חובת כל היצורים לפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, להודות, להלל, לשבח, לפאר, לרומם, להדר ולנצח, על כל דברי שירו ותשבחות דוד בן ישי, עבדך משיחך, וכן ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך, הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ, כי לך נאה, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד, שיר ושפחה, הלל וזמרה, עוז וממשלה לנצח, גדולה וגבורה, תהילה ותפארת, קדושה ומלכות, ברכות והודאות, לשמך הגדול והקדוש מעולם ועד עולם, אתה אל. And that's how we did it in the Maimon household.
Wow, you went Rosh Hashanah and Kippur on it.
You did go Rosh Hashanah and Kippur. I was going to ask you about that.
That's what we did. That's what we do. And now that's what all of us do.
Can I ask
a question? Mark?
So when you do this, does everyone chant along, or does?
Oh,
so you know, ideally, the whole seder, growing up, the whole seder is chanted by the whole table. That it's not, you know, growing up, it was always something that wasn't done. We didn't take turns. It was all chanted all together. As a matter of fact, when we stopped, when I was young, and we stopped so the kids could say the Manishtana, you know, alone, my papu always grimaced. He did not like that one bit.
Yeah, same with my family. We do it, everyone recites together, chants the makam together. In my wife's family, Goldmeyer, German descent, they would take turns, they'd go around the table, and Mark, appropriate to your four sons' derasha, they would always make sure that the Rasha paragraph landed on their cousin Mickey. No matter where he sat, they went around and be like, oh, Mickey.
Thank you.
So David, why do you think that it is that you use the makam for Rosh Hashanah Kippur?
You know, I don't know. It was partly at that makam at the end, but then like most of it in the beginning is not that makam. And I don't know if it's just, you know, it can get the part of that can get kind of monotonous. And so you notice how interdispersed they put in some changes and some songs. I wonder if it just got, you know, whoever was making it up just felt like it was just getting a little bit to me too much the same. So they threw in something familiar. I don't know.
And here's a question, you don't have to answer it. Do you go that slowly at that time? Or do you go a little faster?
Well, maybe night one we go, you know, I try with my kids especially, you know, just to create, ask Victor, you know, when especially some songs that we're singing that deserve to be, you know, kind of taking your time, I find myself going like this, like you know, to set the pace. Second night around that time, we're going a lot faster.
And Mo, do you do the same tune?
No, we do. We just do the same Haggadah tune.
Same Haggadah tune.
Nishman kochai tevarech et shemcha Adonai Eloheinu veruach kol basar. Now, what we used to do, actually, I remember when my cousin Benson, because the Jerusalem family always joined us, Uncle Seb would make him sing Nishmat the way he sang it on Simchat Torah. So it was always prefaced with Benson leading off, Nishmat. So that's, we did that, and then it would move from there. So we didn't know to open up the floor. Did anybody have any requests, or was there something specific that maybe you wanted David or I to give an example of?
What do you do for the 10 plagues, or the recitation of the plagues? Anything?
Oh,
special?
so that, you know, my dad leads the Seder, and so, you know, this was actually one of my favorite things growing up. So the during the opening paragraph, here I'll wait for Rabbi Hassan to bring it up. My dad would, for the, he would start with a full cup of wine, and only he would pour wine out. Everybody else at the Seder would not, unlike the Ashkenazim, where most everybody does their own, or at least in my wife's family, that's how they do it. So we would end this paragraph, and everybody would wait. My dad would get his cup of wine ready, and my mom would sit there with a basin for him to pour it out it. And he would start, Dam va'esh v'timrot ashan, davar acher beyad chazaka shetayim, uvizra netuya shetayim, mora gadol shetayim, uvotot shetayim, uvmofetim shetayim, elu eser makot shevi hakadosh baruch hu al misrim b'Misrayim, ve'elu hen. And this, everybody would say together, Dam sefardea kinim arov dever shechin barad arbe choshech makad bechorot ribi Yehuda haya noten baem simanim detzach adash be'achav. And my dad would pour out his whole cup into the basin. Then my mom washes his hands. And then this was always my favorite part as a kid. My mom and my aunt would take the basin to the bathroom, and everybody, you had to be totally quiet, nobody could talk. And they would pour it, flush the toilet, and pronounce from the back of the house, Tov Tov. So in this day, I'm the one who I hold the basin for my dad. Thank God he's still kicking, and he does this. And I take it back, and in my best high-pitched voice, I scream from our bathroom, Tov Tov.
So that particular one is a Rodez Lee tradition I found, because I never grew up with it. But at my in-laws' house, they did that, but they don't put it to the bathroom. They go outside, and they make sure they pour it on the neighbor's yard, not ours. And then in addition, we typically, or we always have done those that whole thing all in Hebrew and also in Ladino. So you know, sangre, ganas, piojos, mestura, muertaldad, saranea, pedrisco, langosta, escuridad, ferida de mayor. And like that, each one, a little bit of it in Hebrew, a little bit in Ladino. And so you need double, you got to be a little bit stingy with how much wine you pour out for each one.
So David, I'll tell you, we do a whole bottle for that.
Oh my gosh.
We do it in Hebrew, English, and Ladino. And we also do 1 cup of wine, 1 bottle of wine, and 1 bottle of water. So each one is getting, one is din and one is rachamim.
I've heard that. I've heard that. Very nice idea.
As a kid, I remember Rabbi Maimon coming to the Hebrew Academy. I think we were in junior high, explaining to us why we flush it down the toilet, because you want that away from your home. And when they were kids, that they would, to your point, David, take it out into the street and throw it out into the street where the storm, so the rain could take it away. So it was always good. If it was raining on Pesach, that was a good thing because it would wash it away from the house.
Okay, back to the group.